Recorded Books presents Insight, Rendezvous with God, Volume 4, by Bill Myers, narrated by the author. Whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them. Jesus Christ. Part 1. Chapter 1. Well, Doc, it's an honor to have you on board. Assistant Warden Stamp adjusted his chair to better see me over the stacks of paperwork on his desk. He was a compact man with thick bifocals, shaved head, and a collar 2 sizes too small. His office smelled of old wood and too much aftershave. I tell you, a fancy professor like yourself, willing to teach my boys a little literature, I don't get any better than that. Thank you, I said. It's great to... I've been reviewing your list of recommended reading. He tapped the paper in his hands. Good. I think you'll see... And Lizzie, my secretary, she's quite, what do you call them, a bibliophile? She's read most all of this stuff. Then I'm sure she'll catch her in the rye? Oh, yes, a great coming-of-age all about rebellion, is it not? Before I could answer, he gave a throaty chuckle which turned to a brief cough. Trust me, we got enough of that here. Actually, it's not. Same with this 1984. They'll make us out to be Big Brother, and we've already got plenty of non-compliance as it is. I watched as he went down my list of carefully selected novels for my Introduction to Literature class I'd soon be teaching here, in the Snohomish Correctional Institute for Men. Huckleberry Finn? Well, many, including Ernest Hemingway, feel it's one of the greatest American... Uses the N-word, right? He looked at me over his glasses, then grinned. Well, don't get me wrong, the taco eaters would love it. But as you'll see, we're sitting on a powder keg between them and the Afros. Well, it's not... And Toni Morrison's Beloved? Never heard of her. Well, it's the story of black oppression and... Nope. I took a deep, silent breath. After my far too public debacle on late-night news, redefining the term pariah, and my forced resignation from the university, this was the only employer who agreed to hire me. And, given my massive mortgage, medical bills from the unconventional birth by my niece, not to mention our special visits to an infant cardiologist or two, without insurance, well, if he wanted me to teach a class on Spider-Man, I was all in. Does Lizzie have any suggestions? I asked. Yes, we do. I waited, assuring myself it would be all right. War and Peace. I was wrong. War and Peace, I said. I'm afraid that might be a little weighty for an introductory course written by some Russian, right? Yes, Leo so everyone agrees. Agrees? Everybody hates Russia. I'm sorry, I don't quite... Nothing creates unity like a common enemy. He waited, but only seeing confusion in my face, he explained, We win, right? Win? War and Peace. America wins, right? I opened my mouth, but no words were appropriate. None were needed as we were suddenly interrupted by a pulsing, brain-numbing alarm. Stamp swore and rose from his desk to look out the window. What's going on? I shouted over the noise. Nothing to worry about. He reached for the window handle and began cranking it shut. Really? Absolutely. He motioned to the sofa at the opposite wall. You might want to sit over there, though, farther from the window. I quickly fumbled with my book satchel and moved as he strolled from the window to an adjacent wall filled with a dozen security monitors. Spotting something on the upper right screen, he stepped closer for a look. Is everything all right? I tried to sound calm despite a voice raised a good half-octave. The library, he shouted over the alarm. Looks like the Bible study teacher collapsed. The phone rang and he crossed back to his desk to answer. Speak to me. Up on the monitor I watched as inmates in baggy beige coats and pants gathered around what must have been a fallen body. A guard dressed in blue moved in, trying to push them aside. All right, Stamp shouted into the phone. Call EMS and get him out of there. Then, "No, stay in lockdown." He threw me a glance. "I got a visitor I want out, but we stay locked down till things settle. You know how they get. And send me Tag. I see he's there. No doubt responsible." He hung up and turned to me. "Sorry, Doc. We'll have to pick this up tomorrow." "Is everything okay?" I repeated. He flashed a reassuring grin. "Oh, sure. Looks like one of our faculty had a heart attack or stroke or something. Not to worry." I tried to nod, but didn't quite succeed. He turned back to the monitors, his smile fading. "Means I gotta find a replacement, though." He shook his head, swearing again, then paused and looked over to me. "You don't know anything about the Bible, do you?" "Me?" "Yeah, right," he scoffed at the thought. "A man with your education? An atheist, right?" "Well, actually," I cleared my throat, "I've been reading quite a bit of it recently, but—" "No way! You're yanking my chain." "No, but that doesn't qualify me to—" Some folks say the Bible is literature, right?" "Actually, quite a few, but—" His smile morphed into a grin. "No," I said, "seriously, I'm an English professor. I teach literature, not—" "Which is exactly what the Bible is, right?" "You teach literature, you read the Bible, and you're not an atheist. Sounds like a slam dunk to me." "Don't worry, you'll do great. But even if you don't, he'll know the difference, right?"